If you're just tuning in to WCS right now, we've already had 2 series conclude today, and now we're about to move on to a very important one.
Yeah, that's right. It is time for the winners match. It is time to decide who will advance in first place. Kurt and Mana dropped down to the lower bracket after both losing their initial game 0-2, and will face off down there. But now, who goes through in first place?
And this is an important one because right now, Snute is on a rampage. He is here to claim his spot in the round of 16. We already had Kerr challenging him in the first round of today's group, but he was unsuccessful. It's now time for BlinG to step up and try and challenge this monster right here.
That's right. Snute is head and shoulders above the rest in this group, and he's looking for that first place. Kerr failed, as you mentioned. Now it's time for this guy. BlinG to your right, 14 and 16 within the WCS, but this is over a year and a half long. Remember that recently, those wins have been racking up win after win after win. His rank is increasing, his win percentage is increasing, and he, even though he's not the favorite, he has a shot at taking Snute down here to really upset this group.
Yeah, but in a similar vein to what we've seen from Snute in the past when it comes to going up against people like Kerr with the winning record, he also has that here against BlinG. 2-0 in televised and produced matches. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing, as Snute has that across the board against all of these.
Yeah, Snute is a killer, man. 42 wins, 28 losses, rank 19, just outside the 16 point of going to the global finals. He is a killer, and he's going for that first place right here, right now, in the best of 3 in this winners match. Can he be stopped? He had a top 8 finish in last season, and I know that he wanted better than that, and he will be trying to get that again this season. We saw last season his teammate TLO attempt the global finals run. He fell short in the Premier League. This is a must if you want to maintain that goal.
First map is Overgrowth. Let's get right on into it here. Best of 3 will determine who moves on to the round of 16. Spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, arguably the challenger in this series, representing Dignitas, it is BlinG. And up to the top right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg representing Team Liquid. It's Snute.
And he really does represent his team well. He is arguably the best non-Korean at the moment that is competing. He's the highest ranked and he's performing the best. BlinG, though, not quite to the same stature, but overall is looking good. Very good indeed. He continues to perform. It's his 3rd time in Premier League. Doesn't have the best record versus Snute when it comes to head-to-head, but it's not as severe as Kerr's. BlinG has played 2 games and has lost both, but that is, across all of StarCraft. They haven't met that often. BlinG does not have the best record versus Zerg, though. I think we can say that.
Yeah, 2-7 currently in WCS system. That's not the best spot to be in. So BlinG needs to overcome that hurdle and then needs to overcome Snute in his entirety. That's so BlinG here in this series has got a very, very tall order ahead of him.
If BlinG was to win this game, it would be doing, Snute would be doing BlinG a favor. Because BlinG just going through in first place makes this group a lot simpler. Because then Snute goes down and just fights the rest of them and would most likely come out victorious. But if it's the other way around where BlinG is eliminated here, we would see BlinG drop down to potentially face off against Mana again, who would be probably aiming with much more determination to stop him in the second time. So we'll see how this shapes up. BlinG taking full advantage of Snute's style here. Incredibly greedy opening. This is a Nexus first into a second pylon, then the gateway. The reason why this is greedy is, first of all, it's a Nexus first. It's greedy, it dies to a lot of very early spawning pool. The second reason why this is greedy is because he built a bloody second pylon before adding on his tech, which is the gateway into the gases. Snute now sees that and is like, oh, you devil, you devil. If there was an early attack from Snute, BlinG would be dead.
I think, though, in the end, this is the kind of thing that BlinG's going to have to bring to the table if he's going to overcome someone like Snute. I mean, no doubt in my mind did BlinG sit back at home, you know, sit in the living room where he probably plays with his mum in the background and watch that first series from Snute versus Kerr and know exactly how his opponent's probably going to be playing out the majority of this series.
Snute, in retaliation, throws down his third immediately. He says, all right, you greedy little guy, and slaps that down. It's also dangerous in a regular game if that third was down at this point for Snute, but because it's not, he's able to get away with it like his opponent have. Both playing economically focused, BlinG in search of that third base to see if this is the case, knowing that it has been spotted and to see if the answer is there, and yes it is. So BlinG knows that Snute also has the option to really rush his drone count out now. Does BlinG start to think about potential aggression? No, he throws down the Stargate inside his main base here. Two options mainly, Oracle and Phoenix, the less likely the Void Ray, would be used more so to take a faster third base. Could be an option for BlinG, but I'm expecting either an Oracle to punish Snute, who will be looking at drones, or Phoenixes to start the harassment and also the scouting.
I would love to see the Phoenix choice, personally. I really like seeing the stable kind of Phoenix opener straight towards, you know, putting on a little bit of harassment, but in essence controlling the mid-map, denying Overlords from getting any good scouting positions, etc. But we'll have to see what he wants to do. The Forge has already gone down with this as well, in the wall, sealing out those Zerglings from being able to do anything, which was a nice move.
And he's going Oracle, which tells us that through the way this has played out already, he identified that Snute was also greedy himself, and will be looking at a lot of drones in this game because the way that BlinG's played it. BlinG's going to look to stop that quite fast here. And this Oracle, the way that it's waypointed, would skip detection so far. So if he passes the Overlord and is able to get over there and kill the third base queen and also drones, and then being able to keep his... or he even throws down a third base behind this. So this is a win-win situation if that Oracle does damage.
Yep, it's on the way to the third base. Spore Crawlers technically were added against Kerr at a particular point in time in this previous series, but not so much here. He spots the third base, but as he spots it, the Oracle goes straight into the third.
All right.
And starts doing a bit of damage.
This is big moves happening right now in this game, because first of all, BlinG's getting a lot of kills with this Oracle. He's hurt his opponent's economy quite bad already. But BlinG is building, Snute is building 18 lings. He's spotted the third base being placed down. BlinG needs to bring that Oracle back. You've done the damage. Bring it back. It has to be defending this. It absolutely has to be defending it, because that's 400 minerals on the Nexus. It's an extra 450 on the gateways and also the cannon. That's a lot of money he'd start to lose in cancellations. The Oracle has to defend this. Yep,
that goes down. The Mothership Core is going to try out, but once again, the Oracle is still not here.
It should have been there. It should have been there.
It needed to be. The Zealot has died. Second one's going to fall. These Zerglings aren't going to be fended off by a Mothership Core too easily at all.
Photon Overcharge isn't far away from hitting this Nexus, but it's a little bit too late. If the Oracle was there, the Lings would have stopped, and because obviously the Oracle does more damage versus light units, which these Lings are, this would have been a different story. Unfortunately, Snute recapitalizes into this game. He's got a 20 supply lead. He's rebuilt those drones he lost. He's done damage. The Oracle goes in, doesn't really get 1 or 2 extra drone kills there, but this is Snute's lead at the moment.
Ooh, even had to block off the main there with the natural with a gateway. So dire straits here right now for BlinG. He's taken quite a bit of damage. Despite having killed a few drones, it doesn't really matter when it comes to what Snute's doing.
He's going to start to, well, he could lose those potentially with the extra Lings coming in. But what's ended up happening in this game, BlinG dedicated to the Oracle and also to a fast third and extra gateways. The Oracle is still there, sure, but he's also lost a lot of resources and a lot of time on this third base. He doesn't have the right tech to be in this game against what potentially Snute has, which I would imagine is going to be a Hydraless Den and a Ling Hydra. Spire's going to come in. I was imagining some form of layer tech to capitalize on the fact that BlinG shouldn't and isn't where he needs to be.
These Ling's going to continue on with the harassment. Getting that pylon would be a nice little shot. But again, look how well that Oracle just pushed all of those Lings back. This should have been happening, you know, minutes ago.
BlinG needs to find out what the tech choice is in the mid game. Is it speed roaches? Is it going to be, you know, Ling Hydra? Is he already looking at Swarm Hosts? Is it the Spire? Which it is. And in regard to that, the Spire is a very good option if we look at what BlinG has. Sure, he has Blink on the way, but how many Stalkers does he have? 0. He has Sentries, which are going...
Oh, they're right on top of them. The Lings are going to be trapped in there with a few of them, so one Sentry's going to fall at least.
All the energies depleted.
These Lings, once again, finding a little bit of room to poke at here. There's
These
only one sentry.
Mutalisks are going to be almost game-ending. They will fly into the main base unanswered for.
Oh, and these sentries tried to come back for the defense, but again, with no energy, you can't really do that. That's so many resources lost. And all of the resources that have been lost on Snute's side of things, there's pretty much been Lings and drones, which have been recuperated via the lava.
Yeah.
BlinG
is so focused on establishing that third base up. He has not scouted in this game. He does not know what's about to hit him, and it will hit hard. The last time he scouted was when that Oracle was active. He's now got some time to breathe and think. The Oracle goes in. Or the Warp Prism, sorry, goes in. And that would instantly die. Instantly die. Instantly die.
Bye-bye, little fella.
And this is like, I should have scouted. This is not going very well for me. I'm in trouble. That's what that means. He's going to have to start building Stalkers, Cannons, GG. He knows he's in trouble. Snute picks up game number 1. A very fast, furious back-and-forth game.
Yeah, very fast. Complete non-stop action, really, from around the 6 or 7 minute mark. And that's how the cookie crumbles in the end when you get caught with your pants down.
As much as it was back and forth, easily could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Easily could have gone the other way. But it was the smaller things which Snute was able to capitalize on and be able to push himself forward in there. And I think one of the great things to look at this game at is that we all look at Snute as, you know, the Swarm host guy next to Stefano. But he also shows us that he is more than capable to play his older styles before he used Swarm host heavily.
Yeah.
Aggression in the mid-game. Mutalisk randomly. He's incredibly dangerous because he's able to choose from different strategies and styles in a blink of an eye.
And that's the scary thing, really, that comes to fruition here today. We were expecting coming into this, it's like, all right, Swarm hosts, right? But with the way he's not only using different styles, but also then transitioning into Swarm hosts behind it as well, how are you going to be able to deal with this as a Protoss? You're just not if you're going to open up and take this amount of damage early on, as we saw BlinG do in game number 1, when, again, just a completely different tech.
Snute is thinking fast, his decisions are clean and clinical, and he's also performing all these actions at high speed. He's playing a very good series and also playing out a very good group today. It's going to take a lot to be able to beat this guy, as we mentioned at the start of the show. And, well, we're going over to Frost, which, you know, can sometimes help Protoss defend and beat a good Zerg player here. But it is Snute. I don't think map advantages and positions can be good enough to stop him.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. All right, so we're loading up and getting good to go for game number 2. Snute is 1 map away from advancing on to the round of 16 in true fashion. True fashion, looking very, very potent here. Let's jump right into game number 2 to find out if he can do it, or if this man down to the bottom right-hand corner can tie it up. Representing Dignitas, it is BlinG. And up to the top left, we have our red Zerg. Representing Team Liquid, it's Snute.
And Snute is looking to slap down these 3 Protoss challenges to keep them away and make the difference very visible to everybody looking from home. He's already had 1 challenger that he just pushed out the way 2-0, and he's looking to do the same again and put BlinG back in the pit with the other 2 Protoss players to fight for that 2nd place. BlinG's got a tall order ahead of him here. I would be expecting things to change up a little bit, though. I mean, Snute isn't stupid. Like, he knows that BlinG took full advantage of his cautious style in game number 1. I wouldn't expect Snute to try to be aggressive early on, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see him try hatchery first or 3 hatch to capitalize on the fact that BlinG is cutting corners in the early game.
Yeah, and I have to completely agree with you. I think BlinG is probably just going to say, all right, game 1, I opened up really greedy, and it didn't work out in the end. Game number 2, it's Frost, it's 4-player map. I'm going to open exactly the same way, and just from there on, just play out as good a game as I possibly can.
Snute definitely could have done this. Absolutely, a lot of other Zerg players would have. Throughout last year, we saw the battle of builds and the mind games between players like Jaedong and Naniwa on the biggest of stages, the battle for the greed in the early point, and the battle for being aggressive. Snute says, I don't want to play these type of games with you. I'm too good for you. That's what the spawning pool for me says, because he easily could have gone 3 hatch here, knowing that BlinG's probably going to do this again. Going aggressive on this map for either side is a lot less likely to happen because it is a 4-player spawning map, and it's harder to find your opponent, and it's harder to execute it at a good time. Snute is saying, I don't care.
Yeah.
I literally don't care. that you opened up like you did before. I still won, and I'll win again.
Yeah, and I feel the way in which Snoot's going to play this out is probably, you know, he's not going to get the information on where his opponent is very, very quickly, other than the fact that he's not now spawned down in the bottom left-hand corner. But the style that we're seeing from Snute, be it the very aggressive creep thread through the middle of the map, and then the Roach Hydra transition into Swarm Host like we saw from against Kerr on this map, really lends itself nicely to taking the third towards the middle, because all of these things lined up tandem with aggression and defense.
Absolutely, and he can really cone shape his defense throughout the game, spread across his full bases, which are tucked onto the left-hand side, up to the top left of this map here. Snute is going to take his third. These positions overall are good for BlinG, and BlinG finds himself in a position, and let's mention an advanced position from where Kerr was at the start of the day.
Yeah.
He has a better build, a better setup, but also equal spawning positions, equal opportunities, but with a boost. Can he do better than Kerr did when we saw Snute demolish him on this map earlier?
Well, we'll find out in just a little bit. This probe for BlinG is heading right on out towards his opponent's base. Went cross positions instantly because I'm under the impression he scouted out around the left-hand side and north of his natural to know that there weren't any overlords appearing. So by proxy, he must be across the other side of the map and does find him from here on out.
All right, so Snute's got a decent build himself. These Lings have been a little bit annoying, but it looks like Snute's trying to dance his way out with his second Ling. If he can find his way out of here, he does save all 2. And he does, so nice. He gets in with 2, has a good scout around, and actually leaves with both of them as well. So very nice use there from Snute. A pretty fast forge coming in for BlinG here off 2 gateways. Usually you see 3. 3 is, of course, 150 minerals different between having 2. So what this would lead me to believe is BlinG is cutting another corner, and that corner is 150 minerals, so he can get a third base down faster than he would usually, because obviously it's 150 minerals faster. But he has the same as usual, but the less reinforcement to be able to support that third base.
And there is that third going down, over down to the bottom left. So.
And is spotted instantly. Absolutely instantly. Perfect overall positioning, and with an instant scout comes an instant response. 16 Lings. He is going to just run over that base. And BlinG would find himself back down on 2 gateways. You know what he'll do too with a fast forge? Cannon and gateway wall off. Do you know what then happens? It's the same as what we saw in the previous game. He needs that cannon to complete. He needs to wall it in, and he needs the mothership core over there immediately.
At least one thing.
It's on the other side of the map, though.
Yeah. But going from game number 1 to game number 2, the cannon wasn't fully walled off. There was only one pylon to be able to defend that, so maybe that will help out. Getting sentries over there is going to be difficult because of the amount of space between the third and natural.
BlinG wanted to scout with the mothership core. The mothership core is going down.
Oh.
No photon overcharge, no recall, no assistance, and Snute will run over this third base. And this is looking terrible for BlinG. He is at a couple of sentries, warping in 2 additional ones usually in the production tab, and Snute will kill this. He'll go back to fully droning. He's getting spore calls in case of Stargate or Twilight Council play. He's covering all his bases. His mothership core is dead.
And
this is not good.
Yeah. No MSC, no internet, unfortunately. The cannon, it just, how many Lings are there?
There is about 30 Lings.
Okay, so it's not going to be able to buy enough time.
It is not buying enough time.
No.
This third base is gone, so is the cannon, so are the gateways, and if any units try to help out, so are they as well.
Trying to throw down another pylon to actually do something in this area, maybe to limit a little bit of surface area around this. It's a nice, valiant effort here from BlinG to try and stop this, but with that pylon now falling on the left-hand side, he gets access.
He's moving out with 3
cannon.
sentries and a zealot to try and support this.
It's ambitious. He's going to have to land good force fields here against all of that as the Lings go for the wraparound.
Oh,
no! What a
great
second
force fields. Yeah, look at that.
Brilliant. Oh, needs to get that one, and does as well.
He's holding for now.
Very, very good. Again,
Snute's piling more pressure onto this. He's dedicating more money to killing this. He's not happy with the results so far.
Oh, that's a lot of Lings still streaming forwards, though. 32 in total here. And the energy from the force fields is, well, from the sentries is pretty much gone now. There's maybe like 1 force field in these. And he throws it on the cannon to try and buy time.
Another good position.
Wow.
And he also has gateways turning into warp gates, so he can support this better now.
Really
if BlinG makes
impressive.
this hold, he's in really good shape. I did not expect this, and neither did Snute.
Cannon now being worked on, but the Zealots are going to warp in to seal those Zerglings in.
Wow.
That was phenomenal.
That was beautiful. Everything was meant to die there. That was the plan of Snute, and he planned to have won the game there and then. Now, all those lings thrown away is not drones. BlinG has a sped up economy. Remember, he had a really greedy build cutting corners. Now, all of a sudden, he's been able to keep that greed with Snute throwing units at him that didn't work. This is really, really good for BlinG. 81 supply to a supply capped 70 of Snute, who is a little bit flustered.
I got to agree.
This was not meant to happen like this.
No, not at all. And the infestation pit, isn't it coming in a little bit earlier than prior? Because, I mean, with that on the way now, 12 extra drones, but he hasn't been able to see this move now
extra
through the middle.
drones, no movement out here. This is a window of opportunity which is larger than what Kerr had from a very similar position, but because the way this is played out, it's faster for BlinG and it's stronger for BlinG. There's only going to be a couple of roaches because he just spent all his lava on the drones. Snute's got a fantastic economy now, but is very low on defending units. If BlinG hits this precisely, and he hits it with a critical strike, this could be very, very, very good for him.
This is much quicker. It's a much quicker rush to the swarm hosts here, as Snute feels a little bit of desperation in his mind. I gotta say, I mean, this is now moving on to the creep. This is strong. This is very, very powerful. There's only a few roaches out, 5 in total,
and
with
he's
a few
got the
lings.
recall if need be,
and
which we saw Kerr lose last time.
The position's there as well, Sean. This is going to work wonders for him against anything that wants to move in. Look at the force field. Perfect position. Kills the swarm host. Ooh, almost gets the second one.
Doesn't want to lose that mothership core. Lose the mothership core, almost lose your army. All right. He's happy with a bit of damage.
It's not too bad. Not too bad at all.
I mean, he killed 2 drones, disturbed the working process, disturbed the lava injections across 3 bases. He's happy with that. Didn't want to gamble, is fine, and takes a small victory, but didn't really lose too much, which is the most important part.
The one hazard that he now has to fully attribute for now is that swarm hosts are on the way. He saw the infestation pit before. He got the indication and glimmer that there are swarm hosts out because he killed one of them. So he has to start preparing for this.
So he's decided to research Zealot Charge and is building a warp prism, which means he will start his harassment ASAP while taking a 4th base. The 4th base against a regular Zerg is dangerous to take at this point. Imagine if Snute was playing the same as he did versus Kerr, which is Roach Hydra. The 4th is dead, and maybe so is BlinG. But in this regard, BlinG's even building the Dark Shrine before the Robotics Bay. He is focusing, if you think about the things he has to focus on now, is, first of all, yes, he has to think about harassment. Yes, also, he needs to build an army to stop the swarm hosts. He's building the harassment first, then the army, not the other way around.
It's an interesting little move here, and it could keep Snute back for quite a while, considering his position, because swarm hosts on a map like Frost, with the way in which we're seeing Snute position them, it's not going to be easy to defend his main base.
Snute is still building the swarm hosts, so he hasn't banked up money yet, as you can see at the top right, to build the static defense everywhere. So this accelerated aggression and harassment from BlinG will get hit by surprise, because you're meant to be able to build, you're meant to be building your Colossus by now. BlinG is going to attack from 2 sides, left-hand side with the probe and pylon, and up here, which isn't going to get spotted for the time being, and also the Dark Shrine finishing up. Behind this, there should be a second robotics facility, by the way, and potentially even Stargate. BlinG's moving through the middle of the map as well. This is what I talked about earlier, the multitasking. Kill creep in the middle, drop, harass, pull the army in the middle as well. He hasn't got an observer, so it is literally pulling the army around, hopefully, or his goal is to do that, while getting in the main base.
Well, this was cleaned up at the 3rd, so he's going to push it away and push that pylon down.
Main base, big surprise. Does not get spotted, and DT's in the mix too. He can even kill the Hive.
Yeah, he could actually get that. If he focuses that down right now, the overseers are going to be morphing in, realizes that there's a giant threat here. The drone's trying to go and hold position around this, but it's not really going to work out. He's trying to push these units away from the Hive, but the Hive ends up falling. Really good maneuver here, and also trying to keep everything busy in the middle of the map.
He's got units everywhere. Warp Prism, unfortunately, is going to die in the 3rd. And Snute is defending for the time being. There is an observer finally in the middle of the map, so he can start to do some damage. He's hunting for that infestation pit to stop the swarm hosts.
Yeah, 2 layers morphing in because Snute realizes how much could potentially be done here. If getting that tech is a big thing, he's worried about every other location being hit.
He's going to find the swarm host in the middle. He's going to find the swarm host in the middle.
Oh, what a great move here. BlinG, the maneuverability is there compared to what we were seeing from Kerr. BlinG is playing this out superbly.
So he just killed off a couple of swarm hosts. The swarm hosts are a very long way away from being reproduced because he's lost the layer and also the infestation pit to build them. So he needs to rebuild both. Second robotics facility on the way, and BlinG is now rebuilding or building up that ultimate army, which in his case is going to be a lot of Stalkers, because now BlinG has been researched, and Colossus. We may even see the Templar Archives thrown in soon, so he can start to think about Storm and Archons to burst down the Locust for a big attack. You probably want to keep the harassment up at this point. You don't want to give Snute the freedom. Never, ever give Snute freedom to do what he wants, so keep the pressure on.
Poor little guy was probably grouped and then mixed straight on in, and unfortunately gets rallied right to the front. So that Swarm Horse does end up dying.
BlinG's playing a good game here, Clarus.
Oh, yeah.
A very good game. He's got Zealots on the left-hand side hunting the third. He's got the Warp Prism at the north now. And with having the Hive delayed, he has no... Corruptors. He has no Vipers to support against the Warp Prism. Vipers bring the Warp Prism into the Spore Crawlers and Queens.
Yeah, this is these knock-on effects that we're seeing here for BlinG could happily move him through here and tie him up 1-1 if he continues on the path that he is on. Zealots were at the third. A big Zealot warping at the fourth base as well here, doing a bit of damage.
BlinG, by doing all of this, I've noticed one mistake, which he probably hasn't noticed himself yet, is that he's forgotten Thermal Lance, which is a crucial upgrade in taking these fights, because obviously he's been focusing all of his attention to this harassment, which is still ongoing for the time being. Thermal Lance is crucial in extending the length and the range of the Colossus to deal damage in these main fights.
It's 81 probes against 57 drones. It's very rare you end up saying those kind of ratios, but there you go. Snute right now with this, though, he's got out like 20 Swarm Hosts. He's going to have 25 very soon.
Yeah.
It's difficult to deal with.
Snute, though, is slowly stabilizing. Even though he's taking damage, he's respreading creep in the middle, which is a great thing to do. You have to do this, is always respread the creep that you've lost. He's got a couple of Queens in action, and he is on 4 bases. And he is mining from 4 bases with 64 drones, a few more coming in. Overall, good. BlinG's not ready for that big fight yet. As you can see, Colossus Thermal Lance is coming in, and also the Templar Archives is being built to assist with Archons and High Templar for Storm. He needs to keep this level of harassment up, but I think he's going to start trading less efficiently. Snute, I think, may have enough of an army to defend these positions now.
Got himself a queen or two, denies the creep down this left-hand side here, and if he continues to do that, maybe the 5th base can get a little bit out of it, and he actually got the hatchery in the main. Oh, and he's going for the spawning
pool now too, so this is okay. This is working all right for him.
Yeah, not too bad at all, and killing that off would be a nice pick.
Remember, through doing all of this, Snute has been concentrating on defending these locations and rebuilding what he's lost. He's never got crucial units in this game to assist in the main fight. Where are the Vipers? Where are the Corruptors? Where are the Infestors? The support to the Swarm Hosts. Oh, the Swarm Hosts!
Okay, a lot of them are going to die. A lot of them. Even with the Locust popping out, the 6 Colossi here that are going to absolutely rip up a lot. And this is not... When you look at a Swarm Host game and you say, hey, let's go to the Resources Lost tab, that's not normally what you see. Snute here is hurting. He is reeling from this.
BlinG with the 4 gateways, 5 gateways, 6 gateways that are coming in, he can now build that army. And he will attack soon. It's no longer about harassment for him. He's slowed him down enough where he doesn't have these crucial units. With the Templar Archives done, he can add some High Templar to feed back the Vipers that come in, and BlinG can start to fight this heads up. Snute has been in trouble all game long. BlinG is playing the game of his life here against the player which is the highest ranked out of Korea at the moment in StarCraft 2. BlinG is making this happen, and he's looking at the equalizer if he can finish this off.
So far, what a game by the Brit. Really pushing on multiple fronts, continuing it on. Harassment is going down in the main. There was a DT there, gets cleaned up. Zealot's cleaning up the creep on the left-hand side. BlinG is actually now just going to go around and clean up all of the creep on his side of the map. One grab does go down.
Yeah,
so
that's clearing up this creep is so vital in fighting against these Swarm Hosts. You lower the range, which means Snute doesn't know where you're moving your overall army, and also the Locusts are much less effective on creep, or off creep, sorry, because they can't move as fast. BlinG is exploiting one of the biggest weaknesses of Swarm Host play, which is expanding at a much more rapid rate. He's on 5 bases now. Snute has no units to go on the other side of the map. Only defending units, and is trying to build up a great army of his own. BlinG is playing this perfect. He's got the 2nd Cybernetics core to increase further his air upgrades, and more Stargates are going to come in to start to build the ultimate army, which is going to be Tempest and Void Rays to mix in with this. Because Snute, slowly but surely, will start to build Corruptors to assist against these Colossus. But then if BlinG strikes back with an upper hand strike, which will be this Tempest and the Void Rays, he isn't going to be touched.
Yeah, and the harassment is never going to stop from here on out for BlinG by the looks of things. Look at the bank that he has built up during all of this. He's trying to get hatcheries. +3 Zealots hit like an absolute truck.
In my opinion, BlinG should go for a big attack before switching and spending time and money on the air army. I think that he should morph in a lot of Archons and burst through the middle. It's another great pick-off of that hatchery, but there are not enough Swarm Hosts in the middle, I think. With Archons to deal splash damage to the Locust, with an Observer over the army, I think he can burst through. The problem is he's low in supply because he's saving supply by the looks of it to build that air army. But I definitely sense an opportunity to hit before he can build that.
He's looking to get the Spire. If he can get that before any upgrades finish up, whilst that Fleet Beacon is on the way, that would be fantastic. He gets a hatchery at the third base as well. BlinG is just everywhere. Just Zealots here, Zealots there. Never going to stop. These are, well, that was Colossus. They're not going to stop killing Locusts.
BlinG is choosing to build Phoenix here. Oh, no. The Spire is down, so only 3 Corruptors. That Spire must be rebuilt. He's choosing to build Phoenixes here, and this is going to serve in multiple purposes. There's only a couple of, or 3 Corruptors, and the rest are Vipers. There is nothing in the sky to stop these apart from Spore Crawlers. Unfortunately, these 2 Colossus get left behind. But imagine 3 Phoenixes or so, 6 Phoenixes, hunting down the Vipers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect thing to use here from this point.
Did he pop out the Phoenixes? Yeah. Okay.
Especially since he had, like, no Stalkers during all of that, right? So
yep.
It's kind of strange to see that, but in the end, this is how it's going out. There's 2 Warp Prisms to continue this harassment, and they have Warp Prism speed, don't forget.
But Corruptors are out, and Vipers is still around too. Snute is now stabilized. Again, kinda, for the first time, I suppose, really stabilized. And the big question on my mind, has BlinG done enough? And is this the correct time to slow down the aggression? Is it the time to build that ultimate army? Should he have continued on the aggression? Should he have furthered his air upgrades first before building the air army and used that supply instead of waiting with it in the main base with Tempest that can't attack right now? Should he have burst through a little bit more? Should he have been a bit more aggressive? I think so. I think he should have had a couple more layers of aggression. But either way, his decision in this game is to build that air army now. Does Snute have enough, first of all, air upgrades? No. Does he have enough air in the sky? No. He's going to get surprised by BlinG's army.
And he may have just had a little bit of a surprise by actually spotting some of these bases. Right now, BlinG behind all of this is very, very well established economically. And the 2 Warp Prisms are now moving into position to attack. 1 gets found, though, so that's a nice pickup here for Snute. The second one, though, is very far out of range of those Corruptors.
All right, it's almost time. BlinG's at 200 supply.
Carrier.
It's time to fight. Storm is done. A token carrier. And he's going to charge through the middle. The air support for Snute isn't there. He's going to see this and say, oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Because this is going to be hard to stop. Great feedback to start this fight.
Keeping those out of range from the Locust.
Yeah, the Swarm Hosts are running. They are scared right now. This is a beastly army BlinG's built.
Yeah, and it's been off the back of a very well-executed game from start to finish. BlinG here, now moving through the middle of the map. Imagine if he hadn't have denied all the creep during all of this. Good abducts, but then the creep was pushing still. Like, this has been kept at the halfway mark so well. There's Dark Templars in the main base as well.
Yeah.
These
and there's pylons to the bottom left too, which can harass from the left-hand side while pushing through the middle and warping in the main.
A great, great army here by BlinG so far. A great game so far. The Dark Templars have found the hive once again.
Yeah. BlinG is playing out of his mind at this moment. He's absolutely played one of the best games I've personally ever seen him play. From the beginning of his career to now, this is absolutely amazing.
It's a transcendent performance compared to what we're normally seeing from him. Dark Templars on this expansion here too. The hive didn't die, but a lot of damage has been done to it, and Snute continues to be pushed back. The army of BlinG is absolutely relentless through the middle of the map, and even if it doesn't do damage, he's cleaned up creep once again. He's put himself, his opponent, in a position where behind this, BlinG's economy is flourishing.
Absolutely, and Snute's starting to run out of resources. As crazy as that sounds, and as much as people have watched StarCraft and Swarm Host games, they can say Zerg play can last forever. Well, not if he's spending his money every second defending. He's trading, not just giving the Swarm Host and Locusts a run for their lives, killing everything Protoss has. He's done everything right this game, and Snute is running out of money. His main is gone, pretty much. His natural's pretty much out. His third is out, and his fourth is not that far away from being out of money either.
Once these spores have gone, that's one line of defense down as Grab comes in once again on a few of these Tempests. Corruptors try and move in to kill off, but they only get one for all of that energy, for all of that time spent. And there's a good feedback on one of the Vipers to stop the abducts once again.
Yeah, got to keep the upgrades coming though from BlinG. There's no reason not to get 3-3 right now for his air and +3 shields. Got a lot of money, and he does now start them. It's good and dandy for him to do so. And this air army is very strong. What is missing, though, is an Oracle, so that he can reveal these units. Use this spell so that he can see further than he can do usually, which would give the Tempest a better option and to fire in.
Oop, doesn't want to be sacrificing those high Templars to Locust, though. Does pull those back in due time. The Locusts separate themselves up for Snute here, which is one of the things that he does more so than most Swarm host users, right? To try and find bases, maybe try and hold his opponent back. Meanwhile, Storms to kill off Locusts, not the most amazing of trades, but it doesn't really matter at this point because BlinG behind this is still powering through.
Yeah, he's smashing through the static defense right now in the center.
And
remember the upgrades, it's 2-2-2 for BlinG's air, and it's only 1-0 for Snute's Corruptors. Yeah. Snute has a lot of Locusts and a lot of Swarm hosts, but they cannot stop the air. It is only these Corruptors. I would love to see more Void Rays in this mix, personally. I think Void Rays is one of my favorite units. I think they would be excellent in this, and BlinG does have money to spare. Void Rays doing extra damage to Corruptors is always an added bonus, makes it very difficult for the Corruptors to engage properly.
Yeah, I think as it works, just carriers, they're nice, but they're not fully equipped for the job, right? They're going to take a long time, whereas the Void Rays, they really provide a massive, massive punch to this, and they're very quick to build as well. So,
all right, well, Snute is crawling to a new base on this left-hand side. Either BlinG starts harassment again up the north, or takes a fight up north, rather than into this left-hand side. But if he does that, then he surrenders these bottom two bases, which is very bad. So I think he's going to stay here, and he's going to try and burst through. He has to break this down soon. He doesn't want to be losing those bottom two left bases.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, Snute is accruing a little bit of a bank. There's a pull forwards on one of the carriers. Tempest falls as well. Probe's looking for the fight because just doesn't really need them right now. He has the bank enough on across these bases.
BlinG's playing this very safe, but I definitely think that he needs to charge into this a bit more.
Yeah, it's like it's safe to the point where Snute's establishing himself on that bottom left-hand side. So that's a scary territory to walk into for BlinG.
There's not that many spores left. He's breaking through them.
High Templars move forwards to look for the feedback.
This is a
so
perfect opportunity while they reposition here.
Yeah, the Locusts are now working on these two bases down to the south, and that's all of BlinG's income, actually. That's where he is being fed from.
Well, so Snute's won a little war here in this bottom left-hand side, as you can see. He's taken a new base and taken two new bases, and he's destroyed BlinG's economy. BlinG needs to re-expand to the top right. Carriers and Tempests are not cheap. He's losing them. He needs to rebuild them. The war of efficiency is going to Snute, and BlinG was not able to break through this left-hand side. Snute achieves 2 extra bases, destroys 2 bases. For the first time in this game, a big, big, big win for Snute.
Yeah, the comeback for Snute is on the way. Mothership is actually being morphed in, which is great against Locusts if you can actually make it work, as long as you keep it out of range of those Vipers. But the Vipers, in turn, always have to be worried about the feedbacks right underneath from that Mothership. So it's another dynamic being added to this, and a big, big Zealot warping up to the top.
Yeah, and this is going to attempt to kill the Hive.
Isn't that the second Hive, though? It is the second Hive. So, I mean, Snute could afford it, so I guess that's what he's going for. So, maybe bring that down, but there's still a lot of Locusts there. And, I mean, at this point, it just looks as if Snute's, with all that stabilization that's taken him around like 15, 20 minutes, now having those bases down at the bottom left is...
Yeah, he's unlocked a lot of new bases for himself. He's able to now further his air supply, adding on more and more Corruptors, and he's also getting the +2 attack for this now. Some good holding on here by Snute. Really, really good holding on, despite desperate times. Still think Void Rays would have been nice. But here we go. BlinG's going to push through again.
So a lot of high Templars for the feedbacks, as well as Storms, mind you, to try and push those Locust waves back as quickly as possible.
Where's that Mothership called? Mothership... Oh, sorry, the main Mothership should be with this.
It took a lot of damage earlier on. We didn't quite catch that happening, but I think he's a little bit reluctant to bring it forward.
So 3-3 is now done for the air. He's on top of the Swarm hosts.
Okay,
where's the observer? Does he have? It's right behind his army. He just needs to walk forward a little bit more, and he's on top of this.
The Corruptors are very, very clumped up. One storm lands on them. A second one does as well. The carrier falls as it was pulled forwards, but he's losing quite a few swarm hosts here. He's
losing all the swarm. He's going to lose every single swarm host. It's going to be air versus air.
Yeah.
18 additional Corruptors. And with the money that neither of these players really have, because BlinG's about to smack down these bases, it will only be these armies that are being built.
He's got to spread out the Corruptors so well. Storm after storm after storm brings down a lot of these Corruptors. He actually positions some above the High Templars, so the Storms will actually kill off a lot.
He's winning in the air.
Yeah, he is. Unit counts. There's only 2 Corruptors left to fend off against all of this, and there's still carriers.
And there's 18 new Corruptors coming out.
I don't think that was his time to fight.
Archons are being made, and if the Corruptors come in to attack at close range, which they have to these Tempests and now carriers, Archons will destroy them.
Yeah.
BlinG is now winning this game. It looked like Snute was about to get back into this, and he could start to turn things around. But BlinG goes back, waits, re-attacks, and has found the weakness here. Finally, broken through, and with broken through the static defense, the swarm host, there is nothing really left for Snute.
I do not think that was Snute's time to attack, man. With those, I mean, maybe he felt that he had to sacrifice the Swarm Host to get a little more Corruptors out to go up against this, but fighting with those whilst 18 were in production, it just did not work out. And BlinG here is fully capitalizing on this. He is ever the opportunist. He is going to continue pushing through the middle of the map with this absolute death force.
This is a victory march. Considering that BlinG, let's just be frank here, has pretty much sucked versus Zerg his entire career,
yes.
He is now displaying one of the best games that I've ever seen him play, and he is on the verge of equalizing their series up, beating out the favorite. They can't even see the units right now. The Corruptors have to try to target fire the mothership. They don't get it, and nothing could be seen. It is over, GG, and BlinG is able to take out Snute in the second game, and things are equalized here.
What a game. What a game from BlinG. Snute, though, also valiantly fighting back, finding himself that left-hand side, that corner, that bastion of hope where he could try and push the game on and propel it further. But in the end, BlinG was just that little bit too far ahead.
It took a long time and a lot of money and a lot of units to throw at Snute, but his armor's finally cracked. He's shown weakness and has dropped a game here within the Premier League in this season. And as many people expected Snute to advance through in first place easily today, BlinG steps up as the second Protoss challenger of 3 today. And he's able to take one game, but it is not over yet. And I can only imagine that this is going to anger Snute further to prepare himself for map number 3. He was not meant to lose a map today. I'm pretty sure he felt overly confident coming into this. And, well, it's 1-1.
BlinG basically revealed that Snute can bleed. He can bleed here in this series, taking that one map off him. But now can he round it out? That's the big question, because as you said, it's going to make Snute angry. Snute's probably very, very strong when he's angry. And then here on King Sejong Station, it's another good map here for Snute, I feel. Yeah,
BlinG has requested a 5-minute break or 3 5-minute break here, which is, I think, well deserved after that game. He wants to sit back, take a breather before he prepares for this next one.
All right, so I think we'll go to a short break as well whilst we're waiting for game number 3. Don't go anywhere, because the conclusion to find out who moves on to the round of 16, we'll be right back after this. Dignitas' BlinG has proven that there is weakness in Snute's armor in game number 2, as we now find out who is going to be moving through to the round of 16 in game number 3. Will it be Snute or will it be BlinG?
Not the kind of situation we thought we'd be in here today, with BlinG now taking one back against Snute. And we go over to the third game between them. It is going to be King Sejong Station, a map that we've seen a lot over the last couple of months, whether it be in Pro League, GSL, or now within the WCS Premier League. Not too sure which way this is going to go, but I do know that Snute is going to be angered after that loss, and will be playing a little bit more tricky, could say tricky, but definitely more solid. And BlinG will have to bring the exact same of what he just did.
Yeah, he definitely will. Again, we saw when Snute was playing against Kerr, the kinds of things that he can, you know, just instantly at the snap of a finger bring to the table, i.e. those Mutalisks, which did cause a complete shutdown of what was going on in that game. But let's get into it. Game number 3. This will decide who moves on to the round of 16 in first place, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, our blue Protoss. Bringing it back in game number 2, it is Dignitas BlinG. And up to the top left-hand corner are Red Zerg, arguably the favorite in this group. We're seeing a little bit of a shake there in game number 2. It is Liquid Snute.
So there are really two ways to look at it. One, as I say, that Snute is angered and will, you know, really strive to win this next one. Or you can look at it on the other side of things and say maybe he's shaken up. Maybe BlinG did really crack that armor and is now fighting versus the flesh. So a couple of ways to look at this. BlinG, though, has changed his build quite dramatically, actually, by the looks of it, unless he decides to go Nexus first anyway and just add the gateway as a part of his wall. But this most likely looks here that he's going for a gateway expand.
Yeah.
And doing this kind of shows us, if it is a gateway expand, that after the 2 games of BlinG playing greedy, he could be anticipating that his opponent goes for an early spawning pool aggressive push on a 2-player map to punish him. Which, if that was the case, where Snute did fall for that mind game trickery, then BlinG would be in pretty good shape. He has a gateway already, he'd be able to have a Zealot pretty fast and can even make a wall. Snute doesn't seem to be affected whatsoever by the way that the openings have played out and continues on the same pathway with another spawning pool first.
So for now, BlinG is not going to get away with a huge amount in comparison to what he was doing before. And Snute, likewise, is actually positioning his second Overlord already via a different route so that he can spot out anything on this right-hand side, which is where any pressure would be coming initially because of the way in which the map works. So already here, Snute just kind of covering his bases, as it were.
Whew, what a game 2 we saw.
It was great. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, BlinG displaying that he really does understand how to play versus the Swarm hosts, which in recent time, as good as the Swarm host players are, Snute or Stefano, Protoss players have started to adapt very, very well over the last few months.
Definitely.
You know, whenever there's been a problem within StarCraft, it's usually, given a bit of time, fixed, or at least not as bad as it used to be. And BlinG definitely showing that it's not impossible, but he did play, as mentioned, one of the best games of his life to be able to beat Snute. So definitely still a prominent strategy from Snute. But coming into this one, it is a gateway expansion, then second gas for BlinG, so a much more standardized build. And Snute has gone for the same build again, as he has done every single game, which is the spawn and pull hatchery, quickly followed by the third into the gas ready for that circling speed upgrade.
So from here on out, BlinG is going to just add on what he can. The thing about Gateway Expands, though, is that if the Protoss wants to, they can hit pretty hard with things like gateway plays from there on out. So this is something that Snute's going to be keeping his eye out for, seeing where Chrono Boost is being spent. He already sees one into the main Nexus. That's a little bit of reassurance here for Snute. And aside from that, not a whole lot else.
So Sentry is the first unit here by BlinG. Starting to build that energy up quite fast. A common strategy that we do see quite often from Protoss players on this map is, again, the fast third, which has been deployed by BlinG every single game so far, but into a fast attack with a very low probe count and using the third Nexus as more as a kind of an icon that Snute sees to give him false intentions. An attack on the right-hand side here, if you look at where that Zergling is, exactly the other one, if you go back, look at between the gas and then the little kind of hole in the map. Very good fighting position. Small, force field's great. The other one is outside the natural once you break the rocks. Again, very similar sizes. Little force fields do a lot. You can have a lot of energy and do a lot of force fields. So these are strategies and these are two attack pathways that Protoss players like to grab onto in this scenario. BlinG so far has set up to do everything. He's followed the build order so far. The next part would be looking towards taking that third soon, once that forge is near completion.
And as things stand with the positionings here between the natural and main, I think the sentries have a little bit of an easier time because they can hug up against this kind of wall here, this kind of crevasse as well, to kind of get really, really good solid defense down at that third base. It's going to be a bit easier for him to establish this, I feel, as long as the wall goes up in the right location. Yeah. In comparison to previous. Well,
the thing that happens next is that probes will start to finish building around 44, 46, depending on kind of what he stops on. Some prayers stop at 44, some 46. We'll see the cannon, the gateways added to this third. If BlinG doesn't start to add on extra parts of his strategy, which would be the Twilight Council, the +2 attack, maybe the robotics facility, then he would be looking at an attack. So far, it's exactly the build that I'm expecting to see from him. Snute, on the other hand, as obviously this is such a dominant strategy from Protoss players, Snute, I'm sure, is quite well aware of this and is probably preparing himself. He's at 55 drones. He's seen the third base being taken. He knows that it's very more difficult to punish on this map. And he's starting Roach production already. BlinG's moving out, Claris.
Yeah.
And he's at that 44 probe mark with these last two completing.
How many gateways do we have in total? We have 3 in there and then 3 on the the third base, right? So
and it looks like he's going to hit above where I said, where there's no creep, maybe. by that Vespene Geyser at the third base. There would be the ideal position.
He's going to kind of move around it because this isn't the right path, that's for sure.
That's not the right way, really. Yeah, there's creep there. There's a lot of units there.
Yep.
If he catches these set roaches, good force field. He's got a force field behind. Time warps.
Ooh.
Okay. That was dangerous. Nice movement out there by Snute, though.
Didn't lose too much in the end.
Caught BlinG before BlinG was ready, then drone quite heavily behind it. So I do like that by Snute, actually.
2 little sentries are caught. No, it's just 1 sentry that's caught in there. A little bit of a mishap, unfortunately, but it can do. It can be the guardian of the third base.
Yeah.
As tries to poke up towards the natural, but nothing's going to get done there too soon.
Really nice deflection, though, from Snute. You have to credit him for that deflection of that attempt from BlinG.
Aww.
And now BlinG has to fall back on later tech, while Snute is pretty much zooming ahead of things. He's got a 4th base down already. He's got the Roach Warren and Roach Speed on the way. No additional units apart from those first few that he built to deflect that attack. His creep spread's looking good. So far, a very solid game from Snute.
Yeah, and Snute seems all too comfortable to just expand towards his opponent, which is nice to see here from Snute, who is probably just going to try and grab the mid-game by the balls, really, down this left-hand side of the map.
Yeah. BlinG's still threatening in the middle. And an Overseer is having a look what's going on. BlinG, likewise, doesn't want to get surprised by any Mutalisk like last time. And he's going to go in and see the Infestation Pit and Roach Warren. It's still missing the... he has seen the Spire, but I don't know if it clicked in. It's underneath the Overlords there.
Oh, that's annoying.
He has seen it, but I don't know if it's clicked in his brain yet.
I mean, I didn't see it there. We're looking at it right now, so...
But this is a lot of Roaches that are coming out. Roach Speed is done. There's no Evolution Chambers yet, and the Spire's about to finish, which could be... Corruptors doesn't make too much sense. Mutalisk Roach is a weird attack, but definitely possible. Maybe he won't even use the Spire for units. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Circling some Roaches, positioning themselves over here. There's not enough energy for recall, so he has to be careful. Force fields to buy time, but also a swing round from the right-hand side as well. He needs more force fields. And needs to get out, and actually he's just going to lose everything.
Okay.
Ouch. GG, well played. Okay.
Well, that was kind of a little bit anticlimactic after that second game there. Caught out in the open.
Yeah.
A little bit overeager with his units there and was punished, and that was it. You lose those, you lose the game pretty much. And even if he hadn't have quit then, there was 10 Mutalisks coming in as kind of saying, well, you've just lost everything there. You're going to have to rebuild those units, the Sentry Zealots and Stalkers, to stop my attack of Roaches. You're not going to have anything to stop the Mutalisks. And as good as that second game was, as fast as the third was.
Yeah, I think it didn't click with the Spire. Like, with the way it was positioned, I was having a hard time seeing it. BlinG was no doubt having a hard time seeing it as well. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Congratulations to Snute, who advances on in first place. He bulldozes on, but not quite as strongly as we were expecting. BlinG in that second game looked very good.
Yeah, Snute, first place, as expected by a lot of people. BlinG put up a good effort. But as Snute wanted to, he's pushed the second Protoss back down in the pit with the other 3, which means now we have Kerr versus Mana to face off, and then, of course, after that, the winner would play versus BlinG. But before all of that happens, we will be going into a Skype interview to hear from Snute himself.
We shall indeed. So, guys, join us after the break when we'll hear from the first place finisher here in Group B, Mr. Liquid Snute.